I was wondering how those two concepts live with each other. For instance, you have the drive to compete, but at the same time, you have this wish to start a family. How do you manage to keep those two in line coming into this fight?
Yeah, I've been very like honest with how I feel about what I see in my life in the future, and I think sometimes people take that out of context and say like, "Oh, she's over it." What I see in the future and what I want after fighting, and I think that that's a smart thing to look past it because there is a huge part of my life that is going to happen when the fighting chapter closes. So, I've said before, I'm taking at this point, trying to get as many fights as I can. I'm getting older, so if I could fight every month, then that's perfect right now. And I said I'm taking one fight at a time, and I think people took that out of context and said that this is my last fight, and that's definitely not. But I'm saying taking it one fight at a time where I'm focused on this fight, and that's where my focus is. And then after that, when I have time off, then you address what's next in your life. So for anyone that thinks I'm, halfway out or unmotivated, they clearly don't know me. If I wasn't motivated, I wouldn't be doing this. I definitely don't need to do this. So I'm doing this because I want to, and it's a huge passion of mine.
About the fight, how do you feel you fare up against Andrade? What do you feel are her weaknesses? How do you feel that you will prevail on Saturday?
I think I match up great with Andrade. I mean, it's the typical like long rangey fighter against the aggressive, shorter fighter. I mean, we've seen it many times before. I think for Andrade, she's had most of her difficult with either bigger fighters or long rangey strikers. And I'm bigger and taller and longer than any opponents. I think I'm 8 inches taller than her. I think that's something that people don't realize. And I think after we get to like the face-offs, they'll realize like how big of a difference 8 inches is. I mean, it's the same. We figured it out. It's the same as if I fought John Jones. So the same height difference. That being said, that's great for boxing and kickboxing. But once you are clinched up, it's a little bit, the height difference doesn't really play into a factor. But I've been a long rangey fighter my whole career, so I mean, this isn't something I just prepared for this fight. This is something I always work on. So I think that her style plays well into my.
Family. What is the biggest driving factor for you in your fight career? Is it just I love fighting? Is it getting back to the title shot? Is it just having these kind of great matchups like Jessica Andrade? What is the biggest driving factor for you in your fight career right now?
I think that my whole career, even before the UFC, my goal was to be a UFC champion. The title, I fell short. So now it was kind of like a weird transition in my career. It's like, okay, now what? Like I've never just fought for money. I always fought for the title shot. And, I'm in a position where, I'm realistic. I know if Andrade gets the win, she's probably getting a title shot. If I get the win, I'm probably not getting a title shot just because there's plenty of other girls in the division. But so with that being said, I just feel like I'm getting so much better in the gym, so it's motivating for me. If I felt like I was kind of plateauing and then I was just be fighting for money, that's still definitely a motivational factor. But but yeah, I feel like I'm still getting better, so I'm still learning things and I'm still like eager to be able to do them on fight day. So I think that's kind of motivating me.
Said, considering you have fought Valentina and Jennifer, do you mind if picking that fight? And do you give Jennifer a solid shot, or do you think it's going to be a tall order for anybody to beat Valentina right now? And I assume that's the rematch you prefer to have, but I'll ask you who you believe is going to win.
Yeah, I definitely think Valentina is going to win. I don't see like any aspect where Jennifer Maya even can compete with Valentina.